The bell above the door at Brooklyn Brew Cafe jingled at exactly 8:47 a.m., but it wasn't the familiar chime that made Tiana Brooks freeze. It was the dead silence that followed. 5 men in black suits had just stepped inside. The sizzle of frying eggs halted midair. Tiana, 29, was wiping down a table when she looked up and saw something that made her knees wobble. 4 massive security guys flanked a gray-haired man holding a sleek leather briefcase. His gaze swept the room until it landed on her. "You Tiana Brooks?" he asked, walking directly toward her. Her heart slammed against her chest. Legal trouble? Her mom's bills? She gave a timid nod, her throat dry. The whole cafe had gone still. Behind the counter, Wes, her manager, watched nervously. In the kitchen, Rosa held her breath. "I'm Mr. Collins, attorney for the Harrington family. I need to speak with you about Mr. Charles Harrington." Tiana's knees nearly gave out. Charles Harrington, the quiet old guy at table 7, the one who came every morning for 2 years, black coffee, whole wheat toast, never more than a whispered "morning." The man she had grown strangely fond of. "Is he okay?" she managed. Mr. Collins bowed slightly. "He passed away last night, peacefully, at home, but he left very specific instructions about you." Tears pricked Tiana's eyes. The man she'd helped cut toast, always served with an extra smile, who left a $2 daily tip, was gone. I don't understand why he left something for me," she stammered. Collins opened a thick folder. "Charles didn't talk much about his finances, but he planned for this. You're coming with us." Wes stepped forward, confused. "Tiana, what's happening? You didn't do anything wrong." "On the contrary," Collins smiled for the first time. "You did everything right." Tiana looked around the tiny cafe she'd worked at for 4 years. The same place where she'd endured stares and whispers about her being the only black employee. The place where Charles treated her like a person, not a stereotype. As she untied her apron, Tiana had no idea that these next few minutes would flip her world upside down. Because Charles Harrington wasn't just a lonely old man, and the Harringtons were about to learn that underestimating a black waitress was the biggest mistake of their lives. The Harrington Law Office took up 3 floors in a downtown Manhattan high-rise. Marble floors, dark wood panels, and floor-to-ceiling windows made Tiana feel tiny. Her scuffed sneakers squeaked against the polished floor. "This way, Miss Brooks," said Mr. Collins, leading her into a meeting room where 3 people were already seated. Tiana froze. This had to be the people who would despise her the most. Seated in leather chairs like mini thrones were Vivian Harrington, a 50-year-old woman radiating cold elegance. Derek Harrington, 28, his suit clearly worth more than Tiana's car, and a young blonde woman she assumed was Derek's wife. Vivian barely looked up as Tiana entered. Derek scanned her head to toe like she was some exotic creature. "This is the person?" he sneered. "Derek, please," murmured Collins, but even he looked uncomfortable with her there. "Sit," said Collins, pointing to a lonely chair across from them. Tiana sat, feeling like she'd just walked into a courtroom. Collins opened a thick folder. "Charles Harrington drafted his will 3 months ago, after his pancreatic cancer diagnosis. He chose not to tell the family." Vivian raised her perfect arched eyebrow, classic dramatic privilege. Collins continued. "The family assets, Beacon Hill Mansion, 2 summer homes, the $12 million art collection, and a $50 million trust divided equally between Vivian and Derek." Tiana exhaled slowly. $50 million. She couldn't even imagine it. Derek smirked, finally feeling a flicker of relief. But Collins' tone shifted. "There's a second part of the will regarding the family business." Vivian frowned. "A second part?" "The Harrington Holdings restaurant chain, 47 locations across 6 states, plus all distribution and commercial assets, are left entirely to Miss Tiana Brooks." The silence hit like a bomb. Vivian turned pale. Derek choked. "This is insane," Vivian hissed. "It has to be a mistake." "No mistake," Collins said calmly. "There's also a $15 million operating fund for improvements and expansion, fully under her control." Derek barked a laugh. "She's just a waitress! She didn't even know my grandfather!" Tiana finally spoke, her voice clear. "I knew Charles. Every day for 2 years." Vivian's laugh was sharp, cruel. "You called him by his first name? Friends, huh?" "We were friends," Tiana said firmly. "He trusted me. He told me about his favorite books, his late wife." Derek leaned forward like a predator. "About how easy it would be to manipulate him, about how much money he had." Tiana felt her chest tighten. "I didn't even know he had money. I thought he was just a retired man who needed a little kindness." Vivian sneered. "A black waitress at a cafe doesn't inherit $80 million by accident. You knew what you were doing." Collins slammed the folder shut. "Enough. Charles's instructions were explicit. He also left a personal letter for Ms. Brooks." He handed Tiana a sealed envelope. Her hands shook as she opened it. "Dear Tiana, if you're reading this, my time has passed. For 2 years you treated me like a human, not a bank account. You didn't know I owned the restaurants. You never asked for favors, never judged. You showed genuine kindness to me and everyone around you. You have a heart my family lost long ago. Use these resources to prove that kindness and success can coexist." Tears ran down Tiana's cheeks. Vivian snorted in disbelief. The room was thick with tension. "We're contesting this," Vivian spat. "We'll prove she manipulated him." "Good luck," Collins replied. "Charles documented every interaction, hired investigators, and gathered evidence. This will is bulletproof." Derek slammed his fist. "She doesn't know how to run a business." "An advisory board will guide her. Any sabotage attempts from your family void your inheritance." Vivian's face twisted with pure hatred. "You may have fooled a sick old man, but you won't last a week in business." Tiana stood, feeling something fierce ignite inside her. "Try me." As the Harringtons stormed out, leaving threats hanging, Tiana clutched Charles's letter. They saw a naive waitress. They didn't know she grew up surviving struggles, and now she had everything she needed to win. The next 2 weeks hit Tiana like a tidal wave. She had inherited an entire restaurant empire, but had no clue how to run it. The Harringtons, meanwhile, worked overtime to make her life miserable. Her first meeting at Harrington Holdings HQ was a masterclass in intimidation. 15 regional managers, middle-aged white men in sharp suits were seated, their smirks barely hiding contempt. "Everyone, meet your new owner," Derek announced venomously. "Tiana Brooks, straight from serving coffee." Tiana ignored the whispers and laughter. She sat at the head of the table, the rightful seat. "Actually, I do have some observations," she said, voice steady. Derek's predator grin widened. "Do tell." "I visited 7 restaurants over the last 10 days. I noticed Black and Latino employees are mostly stuck in the kitchen or cleaning. Front-of-house roles go to white staff. And in 3 locations, I saw managers treating employees of color differently." The room went quiet. She continued. "Menus are identical in neighborhoods with different demographics. Downtown, a burger costs $18, the suburbs $12. Operating costs are basically the same." Derek tried to cut her off, but she pressed on. "Online reviews show the worst service ratings come from locations with inexperienced staff. Coincidence?" One manager snorted. "Running restaurants isn't about social issues. It's about profit." Tiana didn't flinch. "Then let's talk profit. Southern District revenues are down 23% in the past year, the same district where the staff optimization policy dumped experienced employees." The room went pale. Tiana had studied everything, like a woman possessed. She had natural financial instincts from years balancing tips, shifts, and our family's tight budget. But she also discovered something bigger, an unexpected ally. Linda Chen, 45, The long-overlooked CFO had been ignored despite perfect numbers. At first she was skeptical, but Tiana's sharp questions, beyond obvious accounting, caught her attention. "You really read these reports?" Linda asked, impressed. "I read them 3 times, and some things don't add up." Over the following days, Linda showed her the anomalies: transfers, suspicious contracts, inflated expenses. Derek and Vivian were actively sabotaging operations, trying to make the company look like it was failing so they could buy it back cheap. "They expect you to quit in a few weeks," Linda explained. "Victoria coordinates legal tricks. Bradley wants to force a sale. But you're not alone." Tiana realized Charles had left her more than money. He left her a network of competent, loyal people marginalized by the family. She met Marcus Williams, a black manager shifted to failing locations despite success elsewhere; Sophia Morales, a chef blocked from updating menus because the family doubted her judgment; and James Park, a digital marketing whiz ignored for innovative campaigns targeting diverse communities. "They all have one thing in common," Marcus said quietly. Charles knew. He documented everything. Sophia added the key detail: "There's a safe in his office. Only you can access it." That night, alone in Charles's old office, Tiana opened the safe using a combination from Collins. Inside, years of recordings, documents, and investigations. She found proof of Derek's sabotage and embezzlement, Victoria's accounting tricks and discrimination, shell companies, offshore accounts, and money laundering. Her phone buzzed. A text from Derek: "Enjoy playing businesswoman. Investors meeting next week. Hope you're ready." Tiana smiled. They had no idea she wasn't just a waitress. They just declared war on someone who now had the ammo to destroy them. Alone, organizing Charles's evidence, she felt a new power. She was no longer intimidated. She had proof, allies, and a plan. When you grow up underestimated, you learn how to win big when the odds are stacked against you. 5 days later, Tiana walked into the executive lounge on the 30th floor. Panoramic views of the city skyline stretched out behind her. The Harringtons had chosen the room carefully. A marble table, an air of power meant to intimidate. Tiana arrived 5 minutes early, carrying only a simple briefcase, accompanied by Linda Chen. 5 investors, middle-aged, suited men, already sat, their faces skeptical. "Gentlemen," Derek said with a rehearsed smile, "meet your new owner, Tiana Brooks. She's, a little overwhelmed by all this responsibility." Victoria, flawless in her designer suit, chimed in, "Poor thing tried her best, but running a restaurant empire isn't like serving coffee, right, dear?" Tiana sat at the head of the table, calm. "Thank you for coming. Before we discuss any sale, you deserve the full picture of the company." Derek laughed. "We're here to do business, not hear theories from an employee." Tiana opened her briefcase. "Serious business requires full transparency. In the last 18 months, $2.3 million vanished from the books." Derek faltered. "I don't know what you mean." Tiana handed out documents. Transfers to offshore accounts, fake invoices, overpriced contracts, all signed by Derek. Linda projected evidence on the screen. "Mr. Collins?" she asked. The lawyer entered, carrying a box of recordings. Victoria's face went white. The first recording played, Derek instructing a subordinate to sabotage Southern District sales. The second, Victoria manipulating reports. The third, racist comments about Tiana. The fourth, bribing suppliers to deliver poor-quality products. "My God," muttered one investor, "you sabotaged your own company to force a fraudulent sale?" Derek tried to protest. "This is taken out of context." Tiana said coldly, "What context justifies this?" A security video played, showing Derek destroying documents 3 days after Charles's death. "Burn everything," his voice said. "The little black girl can't find out the real numbers." Victoria erupted. "These recordings are illegal." On the contrary, Collins interjected, they were made on private property, legally, by Mr. Harrington himself. He suspected you for years. The lead investor shook his head. We have no interest in a company riddled with fraud. Derek stammered, desperate. She's lying. She's a manipulator. Tiana stood, elegant and composed. Go ahead. Tell everyone exactly what you think I am. Derek gaped. Any words would confirm the prejudice exposed by the recordings. Gentlemen, the company is solid. The problem was never management. Internal sabotage caused all the chaos. Now growth projections show a 300% increase in profitability over 5 years. Linda showed the actual numbers. Investors nodded, impressed. Tiana continued, I'm no longer selling, but here's my proposal. I am buying your inheritance shares. $5 million per share. $5 million? Cried Victoria. Our inheritance was worth $50 million. After the fraud we uncovered, it's barely worth that, Collins corrected. Tiana smiled. Copies of all evidence were already in the hands of the FBI, IRS, and the press. Bradley and Victoria's faces turned red. You can't do this!
We're family. Tiana laughed, cold and calm. Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't sabotage. Family doesn't use words like little black girl thinking no one's listening. Victoria tried one last time. You don't belong in this world. Tiana looked around. The investors now respected her. Linda smiled. Collins nodded. You're right. I don't belong in your world. I belong in a world where character matters more than pedigree, where competence matters more than connections, and dignity isn't optional. She paused. That's exactly why I'll thrive where you failed. Investors stood, shaking her hand. Bradley and Victoria left humiliated, their privileged lives crumbling. Tiana looked out at the city she now owned. Charles had left her more than money. He'd left her the power to turn prejudice into fuel for unstoppable success. 6 months later, Tiana Brooks graced the cover of Forbes as the Breakthrough Businesswoman of the Year. Harrington Holdings had expanded, adding 23 new locations, becoming the most profitable chain in the region. Their diversity program became a national model. Derek, fired from 3 jobs for attitude problems, now slinging merchandise as a sales manager. Victoria, selling insurance over the phone, her mansion mortgaged to pay legal fees. At the grand opening of the new downtown restaurant, Tiana cut the ribbon next to a framed photo of Charles Harrington. Thanks for showing me that kindness is power, she whispered. Marcus, now regional director, smiled knowingly. He understood what Charles had always taught. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something so great that those who underestimated you spend the rest of their lives wondering how they got it so wrong. Tiana had proven it. Character trumps privilege. Kindness is a weapon, and underestimation is the ultimate mistake. Her story wasn't just about money or revenge. It was about dignity, respect, and showing the world that success and humanity can coexist.